What's up, everybody? Stay tuned. In this one, we're going to be going over one of the biggest things that I think personally you need to understand in order to really effectively and efficiently reach your health and fitness goals. It helped me in my journey losing over 90 pounds in 6 months, and I think it can do the same for you no matter what your goals are. So let's get into it. Back to livingthehardlife.com. This is Eric here. In this one, we're going to be talking about total daily energy expenditure, TDEE. This was, like I said in the intro, probably my biggest thing that I learned early on that I had no idea about before that really helped me break through my weight loss goals and early on in my journey. And the best part about it is you can use it for whatever your goals are. Whether you're trying to build muscle, maintain, or you're trying to lose weight, you can utilize it best fit to your needs. Okay, so we're going to talk about all components of that. We're going to get into it. Before we do, we have a new post on the blog about this, so you guys can go check that out if you'd like. I'll link it in the description below. And follow us on social media, Instagram. We have Facebook. Go to the blog, subscribe if you want to, give us a like, and we'll be posting videos hopefully 1 to 2 times a week for you guys as we keep ramping things up here. So let's get into it. So with my personal story, I've made a video about this. It's on the blog. It's on our social media, but it's no surprise just from the thumbnail as well that I had struggles with weight. And early in my journey, I knew what I should be doing. I should be eating less. I should be eating the right foods. I should be exercising. And I started doing that and quickly found that I was reaching a plateau. And it wasn't until I was doing research and found out about TDEE on my own, total daily energy expenditure, that I was able to utilize that and really effectively and efficiently perfect my plan. And once I did that, I broke through those barriers, reached over the plateau, and kept moving. And that's really what projected me on to losing that 90 plus pounds in 6 months. And I still use it today. I use it with all my clients. It's the way you should start your plan if you really want to effectively and efficiently modify and adjust as you go. So let's talk about it. So total daily energy expenditure is made of 3 parts, okay? And really it's kind of relating to your metabolism. Now, metabolism is very complex, lots of biochemical pathways, lots of things that can, go way over our heads here. But essentially, total daily energy expenditure is made of 3 parts. BMR, which is your basal metabolic rate, thermic effective activity, TEA, which is essentially what it sounds. And we're going to go into these each in depth together individually. And TEF, thermic effect of food, okay? And so essentially what those are, the basal metabolic rate is the number of calories you burn or need just to sustain life functions. So if you just did not get out of bed from morning, for 24 hours essentially, and for a whole day, just the calories you need to survive, that is your basal metabolic rate. And it comprises 60 to 75% of your total daily energy expenditure, so the majority of it. The second factor is your thermic effective activity. This includes actually 2 subgroups, your NEAT and EAT, okay? Non-exercise activity thermogenesis and exercise activity thermogenesis. Non-exercise activity, that is going to be things like walking, going up the stairs, getting out of bed, taking a shower, on your phone. Anything that is not planned exercise counts as your NEAT factor in the thermic effective activity section. Okay. Your exercise activity thermogenesis is any planned exercise event. Running, biking, lifting weights, swimming, any of that is going to count as exercise. So those 2 things together make up your thermic effective activity, which counts for 15 to 30% of your TDE. And then your final factor, your third thing, is your thermic effect of food. What this is when you eat food, your body actually needs to expend calories or energy to digest and metabolize it, to absorb the nutrients and break those things down, right? So that counts as an extra calorie thing. It counts with the energy, right? Now, not all foods are created equally here. So protein is actually holding the highest thermic effect of food, which is why, if you've done any research on your own yet, or if you're just starting your journey, I'll give you this heads up here. Most nutrition plans that are effective or successful, and I'm saying most because there are variations, but most of them prioritize protein. And the reason why is because protein has that highest thermic effect of food. it is going to take more calories to break down protein and absorb those nutrients than carbohydrates and fats. So it helps you burn a little bit more calories. And protein helps you build lean muscle mass, lean body mass, which is going to help you burn more calories in the long run. And again, thermic effective activity makes up the last 10%. Thermic effective food makes up the last 10% of your total daily energy expenditure. Okay? Now, what's really nice about these factors is we can calculate your BMR and we can calculate your rough activity level with an activity factor. And when we do those things together, we can get your total daily energy expenditure, which is the number of calories you need per day to maintain your current weight when exercise is included. Okay, so I'm going to swipe over here and I'm going to show you guys how you can actually calculate this. I'll show you some calculators and I'll show you some examples on how you can actually. Hey guys, so I'm going to show you how you can calculate your BMR, your basal metabolic rate, and your total daily energy expenditure, your TDEE. I'm going to show you the equation. It's called the Mifflin-St. Jeor equation. So I'm going to show you that, and just a heads up, for this equation, the weight's in kilograms, the height's in centimeters, and ages in years, as always. I don't know what else it would be in. And so I'm going to show you how you can do this, and I'm also going to show you some ways that if you don't want to actually plug in the numbers and do the math yourself, which totally understand, I'm not a math guy myself sometimes, you can just go onto these internet sources and plug them in. So let's start with the basal metabolic rate. Remember, this is just the calories or the energy you need to survive each day, performing necessary life functions. So breathing, circulatory function, neurological processes, all that stuff you don't even think about. This is what basal metabolic rate stands for or accounts for. And the equation differs male to female. And that should make sense because males typically need more calories to survive than females. So this is the male equation that you see on the screen here. And if we do an example, a 30-year-old male who weighs 100 kilograms and is 183 centimeters tall, all we do is take those numbers, we plug it into our equation for basal metabolic rate, and we will get a value of approximately 2,000 calories. I put approximately because based on how you round and everything, it could be slightly different, but right around 2,000 calories is what this gentleman needs per day just to maintain necessary life functioning. If we go and look at the female equation, we notice that it's slightly different. Just at the end, we have a minus 161 instead of a plus 5, that's all. But that's going to help us account for those differences. So if we have a 30-year-old woman who weighs 60 kilograms, is 160 centimeters tall, her BMR, when we go through and plug it all into the calculation, is going to come out to approximately 1,290 calories. Okay, so obviously less than the male, not to mention obviously they're different measurements in terms of their height and weight. Now, what do we use that number for? We use it along with an activity factor, which I'm about to talk about, to calculate your total daily energy expenditure. Your TDEE is the amount of calories you need per day to maintain your current weight with exercise and BMR included. Now, the activity factors are based on your activity level. So 1.2 is the factor you multiply by if you have a sedentary job, like a desk job, an office job, you don't get up and around much, and you don't really exercise. 1.375 is light exercise. So that is going to be 1 to 3 days a week, light exercise, maybe some, light walking or light jogging, something like that. And maybe you have a very, very slightly physical type job, like maybe walking around for your job a little bit. 1.55 would be moderate exercise. That's going to be 3 to 5 days a week, moderate activity. And again, maybe a more moderate physical activity job. Okay. Very active is going to be 1.725, the factor that we multiply by. This is going to be activity 5 to 7 days a week or 6 to 7 days a week. Typically a little bit more intense sessions, and you maybe have a manual labor, a physical, very physical job. And then the last one, the highest one, is extremely active, 1.9 factor. This is where maybe you're an athlete, you're training for maybe an Ironman, a marathon, you're training 2 times a day. Or you have a very physical job and you're training. So these are our activity factors. And what we can do is, again, multiply that by your BMR to give us our total daily energy expenditure. And so what I did in this chart for you guys is just took our male and our female from before and made a chart and multiplied their basal metabolic rate by all of the activity factors so you can see the difference in calories based on how active you are. And so this is where, when you're trying to create a plan, understanding your total daily energy expenditure, which accounts for exercise, is important because you can see how exercise boosts your need for calories. And so not only can you eat more calories and eat more food if you're active, but also when you're going to calculate this, you need to be honest with your values, because if you overestimate your activity level and you say, you know what, I'm actually very active. I work out 5 to 7, 6, 7 days a week. I'll go very active. But really you're more on the light exercise end. You can see you're adding 700 calories to your daily requirement, and you may not need that many. You're overestimating. So when you go and do this, you need to be honest. I actually personally, when I do these calculations for myself, I go conservative and go one step lower than what I actually think I am. That way I know I'm not overestimating, unless my goal is to be gaining weight, which is a whole other topic there. So what I'm going to do now is actually cut away and show you guys the 2 internet calculators that you can use, and you can actually compare them. You can see how accurate they are compared to our calculations here. All right, guys, so if you don't want to do the calculations yourselves, there are tons of calculators on the internet. All I did was I went to Google and typed in BMR calculator, and I'm going to use this first one here. It's from calculator.net for BMR calculator, and this is the screen that pops up. Now, what's nice, now I am in the US, but because we already did the equation with the Mifflin-St. Jeor, this is the equation that they use here as well. I'm going to use metric units, and so I'm going to use our individual who was male, who was 30. He was 183 centimeters, and he was 100 kilograms. And so if I go and calculate it, you can see that his BMR comes out to 1,999 calories per day, which we calculated it at approximately 2,000. So very accurate, which means we were right. This is very accurate and spot on. And it even gives you the activity levels here as well, which may be a little bit off from ours. Sometimes those values change based on who you're using, but they should be somewhat close. And you can go and check back in that video in our table we used. You can see if they're close to it. Now, if we switch this over for the 30-year-old female that we used, okay, she was 160 centimeters and she was 60 kilograms. It comes out to 1,289. And if you remember, we were at 1,290. So super accurate BMR calculator here. You know, it's pretty much exactly what we calculated on our own, you know, on the other side. And this has some more information for you. It goes into a bunch of things if you want to read it on your own. Now, once we have that, we can actually go, and actually the TDEE calculator does this all for you. So if you want to just calculate your total daily energy expenditure, go to Google TDEE calculator, tdeecalculator.net. This is another good one, super accurate. It should be spot on. So we're going to go to metric, plug in the same information. Now, remember, we were just calculating BMR before. Now we're actually going to calculate our total daily energy expenditure. Just another resource for you here. So in kilograms, our male was 100. In centimeters, he was 183. And we calculated him in our example at all of them, but let's just go moderate here. And if we calculate it, it comes out to roughly 3,098 per day, which if you remember, I believe it was around 3,100 for ours. So that's perfect. Okay, let's go ahead and do this for the female who was 30. She was 60 kilograms, 160 height, and we'll keep at the moderate level. And it comes out to roughly 2255 per day. So if you guys want to use these other resources, just plug in your information. They're out there on the internet. If you like numbers and want to know what you're plugging in, you can certainly use the equation that we showed you. It'll turn out just about the same. Now that we've calculated our basal metabolic rate, we've calculated our total daily energy expenditure, we know how many calories we're supposed to eat to maintain our current weight per day. Now what? What's the point? Why are we doing this? Well, hopefully you can see what's powerful about knowing roughly how many calories your body needs per day. You know, you can now modify and adjust your specific health and fitness plan, your nutrition plan, based on your individual goals, right? If you want to maintain your current weight, you just keep eating roughly around that number. If you want to gain weight, like you want to gain muscle, you're trying to lift weights and gain muscle mass, you eat more than that number. And if you want to lose weight, you can eat less than that number. And that is powerful because now you know how to modify and effectively adjust your plan for your individual goals, right? But the big thing for maintaining this long term is consistency is key, right? You want to enjoy what you're doing, okay? Going on a diet, you don't enjoy, that you feel like you're not eating enough, you feel like you're not eating the food you like, it's not, you're not going to be able to maintain it. You want to be able to adhere, to stick to it. You want to enjoy your life as well. So we follow the 80-20 rule, flexible dieting, eat, healthy, whole, nutrient-dense foods 80% of the time, and eat your fun foods 20% of the time. Find a way to eat or find a way to make, creative recipes that are low calorie but still give you the taste of the dishes you love. You can find a way to do it, and there's tons of recipes out there. We'll be providing some, but there's some great channels and great people out there doing this as well. So, do that. Consistency is key. Stick to your plan long term. And again, utilize this number. It is probably one of the biggest things. Like I said, it is probably one of the biggest tips I can give someone. It really helped me early on in my journey to get through my barriers to lose that 90+ pounds in the 6 months that I did. So, and if you're still lost, if you've watched this video and you're still struggling, you still can't figure it out, or if this is all just too much for you, it's hard to process, remember, we offer nutrition coaching services. I'm a certified nutrition coach, and we'd love to work with you. So if this is something that's a little overwhelming still, schedule a free consultation with us. We'll be glad to see if we can help you out. Thanks for joining in, guys. Give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, follow us on social media, Instagram, go to Facebook, read the blog, and we'll catch you guys next time.